with all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We, as you all know, each speaker's already mentioned, we all got like about a gallon of milk for a quart container, so I don't want to take too much time. But what I want to do is, I guess, just present some thoughts for consideration moving forward, and maybe talk a little bit about some case studies that I have. And then if we have the time and chance, I was thinking I'd love to be able to show you how easy it is to customize compliance rules, which is one of the challenges as you move into the cloud. And that just has to do with all of the ephemeral fluidity, kind of things constantly moving. So listen, the data shows that you consume more when you're using third-party tools. Now, you know, some might say that's a good thing or a bad thing. We believe it's a good thing because of all of the many, many benefits, clearly, of moving into the cloud. I am a huge cloud advocate. I've been now for nearly 2 years hosting a podcast called Talking Cloud. I'd love for you to check it out. It's hosted on Podbean, but you should be able to find it in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all over. But what I generally focus on, I'm not a techie in the grains of sand guy. I know where to find those people. I'm a higher level guy, and my podcasts generally reflect that, with my audiences being more of the executive ilk. And in fact, I know we had a gentleman from AWS Security earlier. His boss, I think maybe, Brendan Stavely, was one of my recent guests. He's the head of security for AWS Security. So anyway, enough of that. Listen, the fact is, I came back to Checkpoint. I started at Checkpoint literally more than 20 years ago as their first evangelist when they had 400 people, and then I left. And ironically found myself back when they acquired a company called Dome9, and you'll actually see that reflected in the case studies. Prior to Dome9, you know, straight up, I don't know how much Checkpoint really was buying into and understood and appreciated where cloud was, the volume, the velocity, and certainly no one back in 2017, 2018 predicted what was going to happen and what we've all been going through, which just vastly accelerated not only the move to the cloud, but the benefits we can realize from the cloud. Clearly, I don't care what side of the fence you're on, whether you needed to scale up or scale down, the cloud is the environment that certainly made that so much more possible. But since the acquisition of Dome9, we've evolved and turned into this platform that's really stretched very similarly to how the cloud has stretched and expanded far left and right. And the fact is, depending on the data you read, I know we're all talking about AWS, and in fact, Dome9 was just one of their premier level partners way back in its early inception, you know, gosh, probably 7 years ago or something like that. So it's been for a long time, and we've worked very, very closely with AWS. But the data shows, you know, 90+% are using multi-cloud, and this is just one key reason third-party plays such a critical role in filling the posture management. And subsequently, excuse me, I need to make sure that I authenticate. One moment, please. I don't want to lose my connection. I'm sure all of you understand that. So today, the platform, through acquisitions of Protego, there's another company that did a WAF API protection. We acquired a company called Odo that is very key to the whole SASE architecture, but obviously plays key into our overall cloud strategy. And what you see today is truly a platform that pushes security, into infrastructure as a service, but also shifts all the way left with serverless and threat hunting capabilities. And what's really important to appreciate is that Checkpoint's threat intelligence is shared across the 80 plus products they have in 3 different product pillars. And this, I think, has reared its ugly head on how valuable it is, as we've seen some of the more recent breaches and compromises. So we've really filled out this family, and our integrations with AWS are extensive. In fact, they're moving so fast, as is AWS in general, that the new integrations can't keep up with the slideware. Like the new gateway load balancer and our integration with it. So, we are in lockstep with AWS. We pride ourselves on that, and we work very, very closely with them to ensure integration with their products, to ensure, as you saw in the launch partner of the network firewall previously, we were there on that slide because we understand how critical it is to enable you to truly, transparently, seamlessly, in a very fluid fashion, move in and out of cloud, because that's the world today. And you'll see this list grow. I'm not going to go through each one of these. I already confessed the fact that I'm not, the most technical engineer. So, but what you'll see is that we have and will continue to integrate in the native technologies that AWS is bringing to market, but we're also adding value. We're also enhancing capabilities, and I want to talk about some of the use cases. Certainly, if you've read or heard from this analyst firm, Gartner, you've heard their statistic, right? At least 99% of all cloud failures are going to be your fault, and that's through 2023. Why is that? That is because there's so many things you can do wrong. There's so many mistakes you can make that have far-reaching and catastrophic consequences. And so, this notion of you need third party because AWS doesn't provide good security, that's nonsense. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with ensuring that you have something that easily and consistently can uniformly apply your policies across the environments that you're using. We already talked about unifying with AWS from a security perspective, but there's more than that. There's having the ability to actually modify and adjust compliance that, again, I hope I'll have a chance to show you. Now, a big push in cloud today is what we all refer to as shifting left, right? Because, when you get into the cloud, the way I describe it, and I'm an analogy guy, but it's like you don't have to do much more than scratch the paint and you're into it technically fairly quickly. And this is powerful and really enables our developers to do great things, but it also comes with consequences and risks, and we need to put enforcements, guardrails, tools in place that ensure we can unbridle our developers in this new environment and not have negative or worse consequences. So this is a real challenge for organizations, and this is why we've implemented things like code scanning and runtime protection and function protections that actually enable you to allow that developer to really take off and run. And I'll use these next few minutes to talk about a couple of case studies of customers that really found the benefits to, let's say, go from jog to sprint as they moved into the cloud. And the first one I'm going to talk about is this organization. They're the largest nonprofit all about no kill, saving dogs and cats, and they're hoping they're going to get to every state in the union. They've really been making great progress. Several years ago, all they had was a website, and what they wanted to do was they needed to scale. And so now what they've been able to do by moving into AWS and really leveraging Lambda is they have this real-time map that's had a huge positive impact on their ability to garner additional donations, because that's where all the money comes from. And so their challenge clearly was the scalability, the dynamic nature that plays so well into the cloud, but they also, like everyone, appreciated the critical importance of posture management. And I'll go back to that reference to Gartner just to point out in their document, it's right here, in fact, how to make cloud more secure than your own data center. They outline the first layer on the pyramid to building a very sound, more secure cloud. The first layer is continuous cloud security posture management. And this has really become evident when you look at how many different vendors there are in the posture management space today. What I'll add to that is our posture management is but just a component of our platform, and it's CloudGuard Dome 9. And we've been doing this for a long time, one of the granddaddies in that space. And so it's a very complete and comprehensive solution, and that's demonstrated by the platform we built out. Now, Cadence got into the cloud in 2014. Let me check my timer on. Okay, I got minutes, I'm fine. And what they found is they were, as I was referencing earlier with regards to the developer challenge, what they found is that developers were constantly running into security blocks because their S3 buckets wouldn't allow them access, so they couldn't enable their developers to really take off like they wanted to take off. So it was that balance between access and security, and that's what CloudGuard Dome 9 provided them, the ability to implement those guardrails, if you will, and then allow those developers to really take off. Some of the things that I mentioned earlier was this active protection, to be able to actually scan the code. This was very key, and clarity represented a key part. This is how we can visualize your environment, and I don't think I need to beat that one dead. Everybody knows the starting point for anything having to do with security, policy, governance, compliance, it's got to be visibility. So I haven't even touched on visibility, but suffice to say that's a very significant part of the product. Now, there's a feature I want to just touch on real quickly that I thought it's pretty cool, because I remember Zohar Alan, the co-founder of Dome 9, way back in the early days. This was the first use case of the product, and Cadence uses it excessively and still today uses it. And it's this ability to temporarily allow a lease or remote access. This was the first use case that CloudGuard Dome 9 had, was the ability to say, Ron, he's my webmaster. I need to allow him access to update my website, but I don't want to leave a port open, right? We know that's not the healthy thing. So I would give him a temporary lease that was only for him. And when he clicked on that link that was unique and only to him, that would open up the port for him to have access. And then as soon as he's finished or in my specified time, that port gets closed. That's still a very unique, capable feature today, and it's one that Cadence was really attracted to initially. And I just want to, it was interesting that was one of the first ones that we had. So there's a lot more information that you can get on our website. If you go, I'll go back one slide to the customer stories. It's a long, very detailed explanation of their continuing use of our CloudGuard solution. We've got lots of free trials and other things. And Ron, I think I have enough time. Looks like I got a few minutes. I would like to bounce over to here. Can you still see my screen? Just give me a yes, please.
I see CloudGuard native.
Beautiful. So I've intentionally closed all of these. This is our CloudGuard solution. This is the platform. This is not you know, I haven't got a demo going or anything. This is a real environment, but what I specifically wanted to show is how comprehensive the solutions become. It's a whole lot more than just posture management, but this is something I wanted to specifically show because compliance is really a big deal. And oh, I got to sign back in, my bad. And customizing compliance rules can really be a huge challenge. And specifically, I'm talking about, you know, any rule, you know, if you're following PCI, you're following HIPAA, any of these, that's one thing. But oftentimes we have the desire to customize rules simply and easily. And this is a big differentiator that I just want to show. So I'm in posture management again. I'm going to go to this thing called GSL Builder, and I'm fighting bandwidth, ladies and gentlemen, so forgive me. I want to show how powerful and easy. Now, of course, you could see without saying I'm multi-cloud supporting, but I want to emphasize I need to build a rule that says all of my S3 buckets must be or should be encrypted. And then I want to check my environment. So all I have to do is I have to go down and say S3 bucket should have encryption. And then I'm going to close that scope. And now I can run that, test that rule against any of my environments or all of them. I'm going to run it against production, test, and I'm now checking this rule that I wrote in English. You'll look over in the right, you'll notice here's the context. This is what I just created by simply clicking, click, and this is awesome, right? I'm a Gilligan and I can still customize a compliance rule. Hey, what do you know? 80 passed, all encrypted. Whoa, wait, I just got a note. We're now going to be starting to use some other cloud service. So I need to put a ID on these. So, and must have an ID that equals AWS. Add, and now test that. And of course, I'm going to fail. But that's the power. That quickly, that easily, I can just with a few clicks customize my compliance rule for me. And ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very comprehensive. It's not just a couple of here-theres, but this hopefully showed you very powerful, very easy. And then, of course, we have a full open source project called CloudBots, cloudbots.io, and you could say, get a bot that will automatically encrypt every one of my S3 buckets that I've left unencrypted. We've got resources abundant on our website. Please check them out or send me an email. I'd be happy to share them with you. I